Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Nevada, Ms. Lee. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to be back on the committee. Thank you, Ranking Member. It's nice to see you, Secretary. Thanks for being here. I represent Southern Nevada, and I understand you were in my district just a month ago. You stopped by some BLM managed land, which I'm very happy to hear, since BLM is the largest land manager in our state at managing 70% of the land in Nevada, nearly 50 million acres. And I also understand that you participated in a roundtable billed as a conversation with stakeholders, developers, housing advocates about our very real and severe housing crisis in Southern Nevada. And I'm sure you heard a familiar concern that how long it takes for these stakeholders to successfully navigate the BLM permitting process. In fact, yesterday, the Home Builders Association was here visiting me and basically said that sometimes it can take up between 6 and 7 years to get easements and rights of way processed by BLM. You know, and so obviously this is a big issue. And I was just curious when you were there, if you mentioned to the stakeholders your proposal to cut the BLM's primary lands and resources account by over 30%, nearly $500 million.
That was not part of the discussion, but I would say that we heard lots from the local stakeholders about the permitting issue, and that's obviously a priority that we have, is how to streamline it. And of course, fortunately, we've got the Southern Nevada Lands Act, which is a great model, because while I was there, I did get an opportunity to see the new, beautiful, under construction visitor center that's going on at on the BLM land near Henderson, and then also visit the new visitor center at the Hoover Dam, which is also paid for by dollars that came out of land sales from the Southern Lands Act, but then get recirculated back into doing things that really support the public. So it's a great model, and a credit to Senator Harry Reid, those that created that in the first place.
Well, thank you. You know, we have a bill, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto on the Senate side and I on the House side, that is a replica of that SNPLMA that we're trying to move through the House. And in fact, in the heat of wee hours of the night, Congressman Amodei, in the reconciliation process, forwarded an amendment that basically would disregard that process completely, selling off millions of acres of land in Nevada without local and stakeholder input. I'm very opposed to that. I also understand that Senator Lee on the Republican side is attempting to do that. So I would love if you would publicly state that you support local stakeholder input when it comes to the management of land, because that certainly is not the process that is being put forward right now by Republicans in both the House and the Senate. Can I get your affirmation on that?
Well, yes, the land sales are always sensitive, and they're always determined by the local partners, and anything that has to do with land. I know this as a governor, I know this from the private sector, that it's whoever's adjacent to that land and may not even be adjacent, it's gonna have something to say about it. So these things, to do this thing well, do them right, and actually get the outcomes we're looking for, which in the end is, as you described, affordable housing is one of the key things we're looking for, but we gotta preserve recreational opportunities and preserve the all the mandates that we have. But there's a big opportunity, particularly in Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Alaska. These are states that have such a high percentage of federal land. There's a lot of things we can do on the margin, even with a small amount of acres, that could still have a big positive impact on those communities.
Thank you. You know, just one question I have that I'm not understanding. You know, we have private developers basically time and again say the number one barrier for them to bring a development online to sell homes, you know, it's a supply and demand issue, is how long it takes with the staff, you know, with the limited staff at BLM. And the proposal to cut the staff by over 25%. Like, I don't know how you get rid of that backlog without the staffing. Can you tell me how you plan on doing that? Because it just seems counterintuitive when we're trying to get these projects online and developers walk away. You know, they're not gonna have their money held up for 6 and 7 years. So how can we strike that balance and really support the type of staffing you need to get this process rolling?
Staffing is one element, but the other element is we've just strapped our federal employees with such bad IT. I mean, we're 20 to 30 years behind. I mean, literally there's paper being moved around, and there's a big opportunity to actually streamline the processes where they can do, you know, less sort of mind-numbing repetitive work and help them, you know, create jobs that are purposeful and meaningful and that they've actually can get work done. We are putting up a transparency dashboard that's going to help all of us, all of you, be able to go in and look at a particular permit and see where it is in the process, why is it being hung up, and that's going to help us inform there. But I think in many cases, if we cut red tape, add IT, we need less people, we can get permits done faster.
Yeah, I completely agree with it. It seems to be a little reversed right now because we don't have the IT, we don't have the processes, but yet we cut the staff. So love to work with you on this. This is obviously a major issue, not just in Nevada, but across the country, and thank you for your service.
Ladies, time's